Support WrestleTalk!
The Hardy Boys are the new Smackdown Tag Team Champions. Braun Strowman shows up, and what's in the Bird Box? It's an Ollie Davis joke that not many people got. And was Ronda Rousey really unhappy with WrestleMania? Click the timestamps down below to go to any of those stories. And have yourself a super click party by pressing subscribe, the thumbs up, and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. Do you think Lacey Evans is a good first feud for Becky 2 belts? I am Luke Owen, and why, yes, I am wearing a snazzy new bit of WrestleTalk merchandise, which you can buy from the link down below. This is the Smackdown Live after WrestleMania 35. New Day opened the show to have a celebration for Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship win at WrestleMania, where Xavier Woods and Big E both gave emotional and heartfelt speeches about how much Kofi means to them. This was all genuinely lovely with true emotion and hit everyone in the Barclays Center and those watching at home right in the feels. Kofi gave a shout out to his family at ringside, including his Kofi Kidstons and his wife Chi Chi, which got a Chi Chi chant from the crowd. But like a loud fart that spoils a first date, the bar showed up for some generic heel heat. I don't know how, but this is probably your fault, Baron Corbin. The bar challenged New Day to a 6-man tag, revealing they would have Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre on their side. But before that, we've got another 6-man tag, with well-established tag team Aleister Black and Ricochet teaming with Ali to take on the other well-established tag team Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, along with Andrade. There was a fun spot where all the baby faces sat down in a row and everyone hit their big moves. Zelina Vega turned on her real-life husband Aleister Black to cause a near fall, but Ali picked up the win for the good guys with the 450 on Andrade. Nothing to write home about, but fun for what it was. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton RKO'd Ali from out of nowhere, and Kevin Owens gave Rusev the stunner similarly from out of nowhere. Gotta be honest, this was all pretty crazy. Carmella and R-Truth came out to recap who won championships at WrestleMania, with Truth congratulating Mella for beating Andre the Giant in the Royal Rumble. Mella said that she was looking to get her career back on track now she's won the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, but was interrupted by Samoa Joe, who laid out Truth with a Coquina clutch. He then cut a fiery and intense promo about beating Rey Mysterio in less than a minute last Sunday and promised to do it again to anyone that got in his way. Braun Strowman then showed up, and he and Joe got into a fantastic brawl, which saw Joe unable to get Strowman in the clutch and Braun unable to slam the United States champion. This was a segment that Braun really needed to wash off the stink of doing comedy nonsense for the last couple of months. And it also teased the idea that both men could end up on the same brand next week to set up a US title feud, which I am really into. However, all of that was overshadowed by the return of everyone's new favorite gimmick, Bird Raptor. Now I know a lot of people are saying that it's a buzzard, but it's not. It's a Bird Raptor in a Hawaiian shirt. This is, of course, a way to tease Bray Wyatt, who looks to be coming back as a demonic Jim Henson. IIconics then came out with their newly won tag team championships to cut a fabulous and hilarious promo about how they'll be fighting champions. And their first test, the fierce, brutal, undefeated Brooklyn Bells of Carissa and Kristen. Oof, they've got a record of 45-0, which Corey Graves verified by looking up on Wikipedia. Paige was backstage. Not now, Paige. And IIconics got the win to end the streak of the Brooklyn Bells. It probably shocked this man. This was Edge and Christian levels of brilliance, and I hope that WWE allow these two to have a good run with these belts, as this is the first time they've actually felt important since Boss and Hug first won them back in Elimination Chamber. Paige here then said she would bring some competition for Peyton Royce and Billie Kay next week, which I genuinely cannot wait for. Did you know that WWE was talked about a lot on Twitter on Monday, even more than a basketball game? I didn't know that. But did you know that basketball game drew nearly 20 million viewers, while Raw had its lowest post-WrestleMania rating in history, down 25% from last year? But it's okay, because people talked about it on Twitter, and I guess that's somehow better. Shane McMahon came out to recap who won championships at WrestleMania. Shane, mate, we've already had New Day, Truth, Carmella, and IIconics tell us who won. I don't need you doing it in a sweatier manner. He made fun of Mizdad and then bullied Greg Hamilton into doing his intro better. This actually provided some really good acting from Hamilton, who eventually nailed the best in the world intro to a chorus of CM Punk chants from the Smackdown crowd. While while I did enjoy the stuff between Hamilton and Shane, who has been so much better since his heel turn, this went on for far too long, which is something we'll come back to when the main event rolls around. We then got a dream match next as the Usos defended their Smackdown Tag Team Championships against the Hardy Boys. Despite some awkwardness and botchiness at the start, this turned into a really good match that was filled with drama and near falls, with the Hardy Boys becoming 8-time tag team champs after a Jeff Hardy Swanton bomb to the joy of Sal and Q from Impractical Jokers. This also opens up the Usos to jump to Raw next week in the Superstar Shakeup. Kayla Braxton then got into the ring wearing a groovy suit, baby, yeah! And Lars Sullivan lurked his way down to the ring to lay out both Hardy Boys, echoing the debut of Brock Lesnar back in 2002 to leave the Hardy Boys misdadded. No, really, that's now an actual verb. It's on Urban Dictionary and everything. And it's credited to me. Thank you, Matt, for submitting it. Becky Lynch came out to announce that she beat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania and was now Becky 2 belts, only to get laid out by Lacey Evans. Oh, no, wait, sorry, I appear to have my Raw notes up. Let me just find my Smackdown notes. Nope, they did just repeat the exact same angle from Raw.
Control-C, Control-V.
Aha! I actually did quite like this though, and a fresh feud for Becky Lynch can only be a good thing. Sure, someone like Asuka, Sonya Deville, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, or Naomi would have been better, but at least WWE are now doing something with 2 of their 6 on their way to WWE NXT call-ups that have been sitting on their asses doing bugger all now for nearly 5 months. Plus it puts a stop to that catwalk gimmick wasting time on shows. Speaking of wasting time, and Sami Zayn came out at the start of the 6-man tag main event and said the crowd aren't worth his time, which somehow got a cheer from the crowd. That heel turn really worked out for him. New Day took on The Bar and Drew McIntyre in a match that was mostly ad break, with only a few minutes of actual wrestling happening on screen. Drew McIntyre just disappeared, and Kofi pinned Sheamus with the Trouble in Paradise. With how short this match was, I would have preferred the Shane segment to go a lot shorter and give this way more time. New Day celebrated in the ring with the Kidstons, and SmackDown went off the air with a lovely feeling. There was a lot to enjoy about this week's show, particularly the New Day promo at the top of the show, Braun versus Joe, and the IIconics becoming my new favorite act that isn't Bird Raptor. It was nothing special and certainly not a newsworthy SmackDown After Mania show, but it was very enjoyable and there was little to complain about. This week's SmackDown Live is a low smacktastic. So, I'm happy, but apparently not everyone has been so happy with WWE this week.
Great segue, Luke. Almost as good as the segue on my brand new King of Segway style Wonder Ollie t-shirt. Available now from WrestleTalkShop.com. The link's in the video description below. Yeah, we just used a segue to plug a Segway t-shirt. How postmodern. But talking of people not happy with WWE, the main event of WrestleMania 35 saw Lady People headline WWE's biggest show of the year, just 4 years after women's wrestling was invented by Stephanie McMahon. It was a huge achievement, about at least a decade too late, and had the feel-good outcome of fan favourite Becky Lynch winning both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. Unfortunately though, all that has been rather overshadowed by the botched finish to the match. The 3-way ended in confusion when Lynch rolled up Ronda in a crucifix pin, which the referee counted despite Rousey's shoulders being up. The commentary team pointed this out at the time, but the botched pin hasn't been mentioned on WWE TV since. Despite some sites claiming this wasn't meant to be the finish at all, with the actual pin calling for Becky to submit Charlotte, the very reliable Wrestling Observer and Fightful are reporting Becky's crucifix pin on Ronda was always the intended ending, but Rousey botched it by getting her shoulders up. So naturally, it's the referee's fault. Fightful is reporting that match official Rod Zapata initially gained some heat backstage for his role in the finish, but that quickly seemed to dissipate. At the following night's Raw though, Zapata was pulled aside by Vince McMahon, who discussed the situation, and Zapata was subsequently fined for the main event finish. The rule in WWE is that referees should call matches as if they're real. So if a wrestler fails to kick out at the right time and they lose the match when they're meant to win, that's the wrestler's fault, not the referee's. Which is how we got the accidental US title change at Battleground 2017, when AJ Styles didn't kick out of a roll-up in time. could be argued, though, that the first ever all-female WrestleMania main event is a rather special case. And apparently some backstage agree that if Zapata didn't count the pin, Rousey could have struggled to regain her bearings and improvise to finish the match. So, unlike a referee's shirt, it's not all black and white. Presumably then set upon a referee-punishing rampage, McMahon reportedly also fined Rudy Charles on the following night's Raw for a, quote, small incident in the Chad Gable and Bobby Roode versus well-established tag team Aleister Black and Ricochet match, just because he wanted to set an example. The referee and Ronda appear to be jointly responsible for the botched WrestleMania finish, which could be why Fightful is reporting Rousey was said to not be happy as she returned from backstage. It should be noted, though, that she had broken her hand during the main event, so you'd understand if she was a little bit grumpy. Over on Sports Illustrated, however, Justin Barrasso claims Ronda Rousey is not finished in WWE, and that her getting the shoulders up was part of the planned ending all along. According to Barrasso, Ronda getting her shoulder up was WWE's way of protecting her, so Rousey can now say Lynch did not legitimately defeat her. This will apparently build to a tentatively slated Rousey vs Lynch rematch at WrestleMania 36 next year. It's pirate-themed. Barrasso's sources have been off the mark in the past, though, and seem to occasionally feed him information to further WWE's own agenda. With that in mind, Fightful's report that Ronda botched the pin is far more credible. Was that the worst Raw after WrestleMania ever? Find out our thoughts in the Wrestle Ramble Raw review by clicking the video on the right, and buy your very own King of Segway style Wonder Ollie t-shirt by clicking the link down there. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.